Hi there, it's Karen at Corrie Paper Crafts, independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in Central Scotland. Welcome to today's project, and it's this little gift box here. It's a quick and easy box, and it holds 4 Lindt chocolates, or Lindor chocolates. Some of them say one or t'other. And it's a cardstock base and a designer series paper lid, and I thought I would go back to the annual catalogue today and go back to use some of the Ornate Garden designer series paper, which I've not used for quite some time, and actually a stamp set that I've not used at all I discovered when I took it out to make this. So I'm going to show you how I made it, and I'm just thinking I've not grabbed some chocolates ready, but I'll grab those just in a minute. So this is Old Olive, the colour that's in this, and I've used Old Olive ink to stamp on Very Vanilla cardstock, and this is our Very Vanilla ribbon with the gold trim on the side, metallic edged ribbon it's called. So I'm going to show you how I made it. So for the base you'll need a piece of cardstock which is just short of 7.5 inches by 4.5 inches, which is 19 centimetres by 11.4 centimetres. So just take about a 1/16 of an inch off of that when you line it up to the 7.5 by the 4.5, and just a fraction if you're working in centimetres, maybe a couple of millimetres or something like that. And then for the lid you'll need a piece of designer series paper which measures exactly 7.5 inches by 4.5 inches, which is 19 centimetres by 11.4 centimetres. So let's grab the scoreboard, because we are going to do a little bit of scoring, and apologies for the lighting. It's a horrible grey day here, although it's not even mid-afternoon yet, so I've had to put my lights on, and there's not a lot of daylight coming in the window, which is just there, so I do apologise for any glare or any shadows. So on both pieces you're going to score it exactly the same on all 4 sides, so you want to score all 4 sides at 1.5 inches or 3.8 centimetres. And we'll just score the base and the lid both at the same time while we've got the scoreboard out. And then probably whack the tripod as we put it away. You probably come to expect that now. So that's both pieces scored, as I say, at 1.5 inches on all 4 sides, which is 3.8 centimetres. And before I forget, because I often do, the finished dimensions of this box are 4.5 inches by 1.5 by 1.5, and in centimetres that's 11.4 by 3.8 by 3.8, so it's a good size. You could probably make it a little bit shallower, but because you've got all these little bits of the wrapping, what will happen if you make it more shallow is you tend to bow the sides because you're trying to stuff these little bits of the wrapper in. So if you're going to the length of making a pretty box for somebody to give them a few chocolates to cheer them up, then I would say make the box big enough to fit. And now I can't get that back on again, and I'm wishing I hadn't taken it off. Oh, for goodness sake, I'll try that and sort that later. We'll be here all day. So fold and burnish on all your score lines on both pieces, so we'll just do both at the same time. There we are. And DSP lid. So by making the base a little bit shorter and narrower, that makes it sure that it's a good fit. Some people put a shim in when they're scoring because they've cut both to exactly the same size, but I find that really quite fakey and awkward to do, so I tend to just take a little bit off of the base, or you could add a 1/16 of an inch or whatever onto the measurements of the designer series paper. But if you're cutting that from a piece of paper that's a specific size, sometimes it's more economical to make your base just that fraction smaller, and you've got the right amount of pieces that you can cut out from your designer series paper, if that makes sense. So cutting up that score line at the corner, keeping the straight edge on the larger rectangle and wedging into the smaller square on the end, as you've seen me do before. And this box is actually similar to a box that I made, oh, maybe a couple of weeks ago, that had Ferrero Rocher in it. I think I've got one handy which I'll show you just in a minute, but it had a window in it, and I wanted to make one that was just slightly bigger to hold some Lindt chocolates, and I didn't want a window in this one because I wanted my bow and my sentiment on the top. And I can hear a van stopping outside, and that might be somebody coming to the door with a delivery, so if it is, I will excuse myself and go and answer the door. But I'm hoping it's actually going next door and not coming here. So far so good, no champing at the door. And because this is a long narrow box, as I did with another box recently, I'm just doing my wedges, 2 on either side of the box. I would normally rotate and do a corner on each side, but because this box is quite narrow, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to do the flaps on each side, or 2 on the opposite sides, if that made sense. And then I'm going to do a little bit of trimming because I don't really want these to be this size, so I'm going to get my trimmer just for a minute. And it does make it easier actually to trim these flaps down. So I'm going to fold the rectangle in the middle down a bit, and I'm going to trim these flaps to about 1/2 inch. You can just do it with your scissors, but I'm not great at cutting straight lines, as you know, and because these are actually gifts for people, I'm wanting to make it nice and neat, so I'm just going to use my trimmer just to trim those down. Oops. Here we are, last one. Again, just line it up to 1/2 inch and chop them off. And then I'm going to add tape to all these flaps here because that's what's going to join my box together. So I'm currently looking for my tearing tape. There it is, it's just hiding underneath something. Find the end and pop a little bit along here. And I'm going to use my ruler again just to make nice neat edges on that, because as I say, it is a gift, so I don't want to scrimp, and it is going in the post, so I want it to stay together. And I'm just going to do the same on the base and on the lid, so we'll just do all the taping all at the one time, and the same on the lid near the score line but not on it, so that you've not got any sticky bits sticking out. I'm hoping that I'm not getting it too near the score line, because I'm not right above it as I would normally do if I didn't have a camera right here, with legs of the tripod just either side of what you can see of the grid paper. They're only a few inches either side of there, so I don't have a big craft desk, so I've got to position the tripod on a kind of small desk, and that's why I normally bump it with my scoring board, my score board or scoring board. So I'm just going to give these bits of tape a wee rub to make sure that they're well stuck. I think that van must have been going to next door because nobody's knocked on the door, which is fabulous. And then I'm just going to take the backing off all of these like so, and again I'll just do the lid while we're at it. I really need to clean the point of this because it's getting quite sticky, because I always use it to take my backing off of my tape. And then it's straight edge off here onto the folded edge on here, like you've seen many times, myself and other demonstrators. You'll have seen this before. And just join those together. We'll give them an extra burnish just in a minute, and we'll check for our furry corners just in a second as well. So let's stick the lid together we do anything else. Oh my goodness, that is not straight, Karen. Oh, for goodness sake, watch what you're doing. Just take your time and make sure that that straight edge lines up neatly with the folded edge like so. There we are. And then I'm just going to give that an extra burnish, particularly down the crease in the corner with my paper folder, just to make sure that we've got a nice join which gives us that nice crisp finish on here, and there's nothing that's going to start to gape. There we are. Now the last thing I want to do is, as you've seen me do with a couple of other boxes, I'm going to use my snowman punch, which I think I said in the last video needed a clean, and I've still not done it. And then I'm just going to use my snowman's head to punch a finger notch in each side of the lid. Now, if you're not careful, if you can see, if you push that punch too far in, you start to catch other bits. So just make sure that you're not catching any of the other bits in the punch, or you'll make an extra hole that you don't want on your lid. So I'm just going to pull that back just a little bit because I can see that starting to go in there. So pop that on there, and the same on the other side, and I'm just eyeballing where I think the middle is, so maybe along a little bit about there, I think. Oops, there we are. And get the punch back out of the way just now, and I'm going to look for my box of chocolates, which is here, and grab 1, 2, 3, 4, there we are, and pop them into the box. And I just want to make sure that I have all the writing facing the right way. And you see what I mean about the extra bits of wrapping? If you try to push them down the side too much, you're going to make your box gape, and that's not going to look quite so nice. There we are. And the noise you want is that noise like that, and even with the weight of the chocolates, that's not going to fall out. And because this is annoying me, I'm just going to put the lid on again right now. There we go. So to do a bit of stamping now, I'm going to use the Special Someone photopolymer stamp set, and I'm using this little happy birthday here, which I already have mounted on a block, which is here, and this is terracotta tile, so I'm going to use my terracotta tile ink on a piece of very vanilla cardstock. No, I don't want my dimensionals. Here we go. Ink that up, and actually I might just cut this edge off because I'm not sure if I'll get the punch past that. There we are, so just about there. I like that little stamp. For as small as it is, you get a nice crisp image from it. And that's the door now, bear with me. Sorry about that. I'm all out of breath running down and back up the stairs again. I think it was the delivery driver that I heard. He's just, I think, got a few deliveries to make in the street, so it just started at the top and he's working his way down, I think. So I've stamped my happy birthday, as you saw, and I'm going to use the classic label punch just to cut that out. Now it just fits and no more, but it is quite a nice fit, and I just want to make sure I've got an even space at each end before I punch that out, because I'm going to add some champagne rhinestones. I'm back on a champagne rhinestone crusade, I think, and I'm just going to pop one at each end, just the smallest size. So one there, just where the pointy bit is, and one there, like that. And then I'm going to add some mini dimensionals to the back like so. I'm just trying to line up the pointy bits with the pointy bits and the flat edges with the flat edges to make it neat. One about there and one in the middle. There we are. I'm going to put that to the side just now because I'm actually going to use my, oops, that's a piece of paper falling down, my metallic edge ribbon, and this is again the Very Vanilla, and like you saw me maybe do recently on another box that I made, I'm just going to do a bunny ears bow because I'm only just adding the bow to the top, I'm not putting it all the way around. So just like so. I seem to be able to tie those bows not too badly. It's bows when I've got to hold on to things and manoeuvre things around that I'm not so good with, so that's not bad. I'm going to leave that like that. Just going to find my ribbon scissors. Here we go, and a wee tail there and a wee tail there. That's not bad at all. And my glue dots, here we go. Pop one onto the back of my ribbon, and I'm just going to put it slightly above centre. Seems to have changed shape, but we can sort that. Above centre in the middle of the box, but I want to leave room for my little sentiment here, and I actually want my tails to kind of point more that way. There we are. Take the back ends off my mini dimensionals, make sure my sentiment's the right way up obviously, and add that just there, and that's it. So nice and quick and easy, but a really pretty box just to give somebody a gift with some chocolates in. So I hope you like those. If you do, give me a thumbs up. If you're not already a subscriber, I would love it if you would subscribe as well. I've set some new goals for Stampin' Up this month, so one of those is to increase my subscribers on YouTube, so I would love it if you would subscribe and click on the little bell to be notified of any future videos. The links to all the products I've used will be in the description bar below, and will be a link to my shop, so if you don't already have a demonstrator, I would love you to be one of my customers, and I hope to see you again soon. So until the next video, take care, bye bye.